Welcome to Life Coaching for Dance Studio Owners. Each week, we talk money, mindset, and self-care to help you live a more peaceful life and lead a more profitable business. Let's get started. Are you feeling crappy today? I know that I feel crappy sometimes, and maybe that's where you're at today, or that's where you were last week, and maybe it's to come. Either way, I'm sharing 3 tips today on things that you can do to take action when you just feel crappy. So, I want to start by just acknowledging that there's going to be days and times in our lives when things just don't go right. When there's moments where you just feel like a failure, when there's moments when nothing is going well, like personal, with your health, your business, all the things. And there are going to be days when you feel crappy. And we can't avoid them. We can't stop it from happening. But what we can do is take action. So I want to share these tips that for me are helpful, and I think for you, you might find some peace and clarity in them. So, first of all, I want to just encourage you to feel your feelings. Let those feelings come over you. It's not something that we need to try to medicate, something we need to eat a whole bunch of Ben and Jerry's or drink too much wine over, or even binge watch too much on TikTok. What's important here is that we give ourselves the time and the space to feel the emotions and feel crappy for a while. Now, I'm not saying to give yourself a pity party for 3 weeks, but certainly let it sit with you for a while, maybe a few hours. Process all of those feelings that you have, all of those thoughts running through your mind. Sit with it. Don't try to get rid of it, or certainly don't try to make major decisions when you're feeling this way. But you really want to take the time to allow yourself to feel sadness, to feel sorrow, to feel disappointed, to feel rejected, to feel even like a failure. These things, they're emotions, and that's all they are. It's part of life, and we can't avoid them. So when we try to ignore these feelings, it's almost as if they become bigger and bigger and bigger. How many times have you said, "Oh man, I feel so sad about this thing," and you try so hard to not think about it, to do things to get your mind off of it? And in fact, what happens is it becomes a bigger and bigger problem. Those feelings are going to be there. So allow them to have a moment. Allow them to sit with you for a while and feel them, ride that wave. Because on the other side of that, there's going to be moments when you are happy, excited, elated, so in a good mood. But again, with those feelings, you'll ride that wave until the next emotion comes along. So, tip number 2, when you're feeling crappy, is to slow down. Just slow down. Think about what you're doing. Are you being intentional? Are you just doing things to be doing them? Are you doing things that you feel like you need to be doing or you should be doing? Are you carrying on as if nothing has changed? When we slow down, we can take a step back and be intentional about our actions in our business, in our daily life, in our prayer and meditation life. Taking the time to slow down is so important, because in these cycles of feeling down, that's not the time to try to ramp up, just power through, and act as if these things don't affect you, because they do. Which goes back to what I was saying about feeling your feelings. When you slow down, you're not rushing the natural process of what needs to happen in your mind to go through your emotions. You also should slow down and think about what it is that you might need. Have you been drinking water, eating vegetables, getting enough sleep? Have you been managing your mental health? Are you managing your physical health? Are you feeling just so crummy that so many of the things that you would normally do just haven't been happening? Maybe it's time to slow down and have a long bath. Maybe it's time to slow down and take that midday nap that you so desperately need. Slow down in whatever way works best for you to just be. Instead of trying to create or produce or do anything that generates results, try to slow down and listen to yourself, listen to your heart. Find a way to slow down, my friends. Now, my third tip, this is the good one. This is the one where it reminds us of patterns in life, and that is to allow yourself to grow. Now, I saw so many things recently that reminded me of this. And when you're feeling crappy or when I'm feeling crappy, we have to remember on the other side of that is growth. When you are birthing a new project, or for that matter, birthing a new human, there's going to be massive change, disruption, and pain. These things are part of the process. What new things have you created that had absolutely no friction? Probably nothing. When you started your studio, you met with friction. Sure, some parts might have seemed easy, but also there is friction along the way. There's things that slow us down, there's things that get in our way from doing things on the timeline we wanted. This is part of the process. You know you're on the verge of something new when you have these things that disrupt and distract you to try to keep you off track, which is how you know you are on track. One of the things I heard from a speaker recently, he was saying that in his reference, he was talking about in the Bible and how whenever someone was inspired to do something, maybe it was speak out about something that they thought was wrong, or maybe they were doing something that was countercultural, there was always something following it that was disruptive. You see, they would speak out and say something or say a prophecy, and then people who were filled with hate and didn't agree would come at them at that very moment after. So many times, this is exactly what happens to us. And we can remember that as we push towards a new goal, we push towards something, um, a change, if we are creating something new in our business, changing something in our business, there's going to be something that tries to disrupt and upset your balance because you were on the verge of something. What I also want to just say, besides these three tips, is that we need to remember that our feelings are created from our thoughts. You see, when we think, no one cares about me, how do we feel? You see, if we change that to say, I feel supported when I talk to this person, or we change it to, this is something temporary, your feelings are different. We all need to remember that if thoughts create our feelings, that it's only a matter of time for us to think something different, and we will in turn feel something different. When we feel these feelings of being crappy and disappointed and rejected and failure, that that is coming from a place of where our thoughts are in the moments leading up to where we are. And it's never going to be sunshine and rainbows every single day. That's just not realistic, right? But if we take the time to think about the growth, the change, the positive change that's going to be happening on the other side of this thing, then it helps put these feelings into perspective. If we feel rejected, we could say, well, that's it. I'll never go on to do the thing I wanted to do because one person rejected me. But if we can change that to that one person wasn't the right person for me, that one person doesn't determine my destiny, well, then we have a different point of view. We have a new way to think about how this is happening to us and what results are going to happen. This change in mindset, this is why people talk about mindset all the time. This change in mindset will change our feelings, and our feelings will help fuel us out of this crappy feeling into motivated, determined, and tenacious. When we take these feelings and only feel those feelings of rejection or failure, what happens is we'll continue to dig the hole deeper. If we can find a way to think with facts, data, reality, we will come out of that. It might take a week or a few days, maybe even a month. But those crappy moments aren't forever. And you know that. I know that. There's things that may upset us, things in our world, things in politics, things in business, things with people that we thought we trusted. But at the end of the day, we have the power to change how we feel, to change how we think, and to change our lives and our businesses for the better. If you are feeling crappy today, my friend, I hope that you'll give these 3 tips a try. I hope that they will inspire you or challenge you to think differently. I wish you all the best. Hey there, if you're finding value in our podcast and want to dive deeper, I'd love to work with you through my coaching program. Together, we can tackle the challenges of running a dance studio and find your path to peace and profits as a business owner. Visit gingerhaithcox.com/coaching and get started today.